You know, again, it's a slippery, slippery slope when you start looking at how people think. And again, I'm not supporting him in any way, shape, or form. I'm thinking this in terms of the bigger picture, which is why I don't want to say anything at the beginning, because there's a lot more at stake here than fucking Donald Sterling, and that's what concerns me. How does this compare to what the Major League Baseball did? I was 6. I don't know.
How could
you have no information on that, right? No.
How could the Clippers possibly continue to function as a productive NBA franchise if he's
That's up to them, right? I don't know. That's not my call to make.
Is that not a league issue as well?
I'm sure there'll be discussions with Adam and his staff on what needs to happen next, but it comes down to them. It's not something that I have any say in or should have any say in.
Have you talked to Adam Silver?
I've talked to nobody in the league, and to be clear, no one's told me not to say anything, and everything I've said or not said has been completely at my choice.
Would you support the commissioner who tried to push him out?
It depends on how he does it. Again, it's a slippery slope. You know, to Tim's point, if this is in the workplace and he discriminated against someone in the workplace, I support a discrimination law. Absolutely. If he took action, you know, somewhere else, but it was action-based, yes, you take action. But when we start setting a precedent, what people say privately in their own home, what they're thinking, that scares the shit out of me, right? That scares the living shit out of me.
As an NBA owner, though, fellow NBA owner, don't you want his standard to be higher?
Absolutely, and that's why I'm willing to support what Adam does, right? But I'm not, again, this is, everybody's talking, you know, I was stood out very clearly and said this is a bigger issue, right? And I didn't want to talk about it because it is a bigger issue, and this is a bigger issue. You know, it's not about, we got to be careful that we lose track of what this originally was about. And very quickly, it'll go beyond who Donald Sterling is, right? He'll be forgotten. And we'll be in a position where we have a precedent that says, you better be careful what you say at home, and you better be careful that someone's not recording you, and you better be careful that, you know, walking down the street, if you don't think that walking down the street, your picture's not being taken, and there's a chance that at some point your voice will be recorded and it'll be associated with you, you have no clue what's going on with technology world, right? You think all the people that you take pictures of are license plates, right? And I'm not trying to be Mr. Paranoid, I'm not saying it happens everywhere all the time. I'm just saying this is where the world we are going to be living in very shortly. And we are going, you know, within any organization, you know, if it was one of my companies and I saw that somebody thought like that and dealt like that, I'd fire them, right? But that's within my company, that's within my organization. I have control of that with one. But again, generally speaking, where do you draw the line? That's an incredibly slippery slope. And to ask the question, someone in the Washington Post wrote an article. Well, you knew this person was like this. You know, how many homophobes are in this league? How many people are bigoted in one way or the other in this league? I don't know. But you find one, all of a sudden you say, well, you know, you can't play favorites. You know, being racist against African American, it should be the same as being, you know, prejudiced against, you know, homosexuals, right? Or any LGBT organization. Okay, where do you draw the line? What about anti-Semitism? What about, you know, all the way down? That's a slippery slope. We have to be very careful.
Would the league be better off without Donald Sterling?
At this point, yes. But that has nothing to do with the rules that we have to live by. There's a lot of things I don't agree with that by letter and rule of law have to happen anyways. You know, when you live in a country of laws, you want to support, there are laws. And look, I fought the government, you know, been bullied by the government, yet I still support the rule of law. And, you know, there's a reason why those rules, and we have a constitution. And it's worked for 50, however many years, right? It'll continue to work.
Knowing what you knew of Sterling, did these comments surprise you?
You know, I didn't know him that well. I don't think I've talked to him 5 times in 14 years. You know, other than to say, hey, you know, how are you? So I can't say that I knew him at all. And people say, well, why did you? It's not like we're all the best friends in the Board of Governors meeting, and there's been, you know, more than 50% of the league has turned over in the last 5-6 years. And there's new guys that have come in I wouldn't even recognize if I saw them. You know, and Donald obviously was there long before I was. It's not long we had long, in-depth conversations. He didn't. And it's not like I kept track you know, I read an article that quoted me from 2009. I think that was the article I learned about a lot of the stuff about him. But again, you know, it was a court of law for reasons, you know, and deal with people's actions, but I'm never going to put myself in a position where I'm the outside of the organizations I have control over, or I run, or I'm invested in. I'm never going to tell somebody that just because you're a moron or an idiot that you can't be an idiot or think those thoughts. That's far worse than anything done with Sterling is ever.
How would you firing somebody in your own organization for saying that, right? When being in front of the board of governors, voting to essentially fire this guy?
You can't fire somebody who owns something. But once you come to your house because of something you said, you know what? We don't like what you had to say. We're making you sell your car. We're making you sell your house. You know, or how many neighbors have you had that you don't agree with their politics and you don't agree with? I grew up in Pittsburgh, and there was a guy, and he's a great guy, played baseball. His dad was racist as the day is long. I'd go down there, and he'd talk about, I've never watched the Pittsburgh Pirates because it's an all-black lineup. First all-black lineup, I think, at the time. Walk away, right? What if this is now? Make the guy sell his house? Is that what you do? But if he's a homophobe, sell your house. You can't make somebody sell their property like that for what they think of private. It's not America. This is still the United States of America, no matter how you look at it. And it's something you've got to think of the bigger picture.
As business partners, though, who stand to be harmed by having him.
And that's why we have a constitution, and that's why you have a commissioner. Otherwise, we wouldn't need a commissioner. We wouldn't need a constitution.
If he's still around, and they don't remove him or force him out, however they do that, and players decide they don't want to play for him, would you understand where they're coming from?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Look, you know, our guys wearing black socks, great. You know, sponsors pulling out, great. That's the best way to deal with this. You know, stupidity is its own reward. And, you know, when you recognize somebody that you don't appreciate or you don't respect or you don't like their position, fine. You know, vote with your pocketbook, vote with your wallet. You know, vote with your mind and have a conversation, discuss it, be open about it. But again, that's different than taking someone's property.
But what sponsors are pulling out, that harms the league. So
no, it doesn't harm. I mean, it harms him. It doesn't really harm the league, right? And look, it's like if we lost sponsors, it's just my fiscal responsibility. I've got to make up for it.
Don't y'all need all teams to be making money to grow the pie to a certain extent? I mean,
have you not been watching the NBA for a long time? Yeah. I mean, well, no, seriously. I mean, you know, there's a long history of a lot of teams not making money. And that was my point.
But theoretically, you want.
No, of course you want your partners to be successful, but you have to deal with the issues you have to deal with.
Talk to the players at all?
Yeah, I didn't sit down and talk to them all, but back in the training room, I asked them if they had any questions, and I answered their questions. I told them what I saw, and I told them what I thought about them. I told them what I thought the circumstances were, and I told them I supported them, whatever actions they wanted to take.
One idea I've heard is giving Clippers the option of becoming a free agent. What would you think of that?
It's not my decision to make, right? That's all. I mean, let's put it this way. Let's just say I did something bad, and you made everybody free. You don't think, you know, that my partners are going to sue, right? You can't just, again, you can't just make reactions. There's a constitution for a reason. You know, it's worked for a long time. So again, I don't want to legislate stupidity. When you start, I've said this as applied to politics, and I'll say it here. When you start trying to legislate morality, you've got big problems.
As you and many other reasons, don't put them bad on.
I mean, obviously, he's not a good owner, right? You know, qualified that. He certainly doesn't set an example that I can.
Is there a worse owner?
Using what criteria? I mean, there's been dumbasses for years in professional sports.
Is he in the step-in class?
I don't know. I didn't know that. But I did find out that he went to the same high school as DeJuan Blair and my dad. I didn't know that until the other day.
So, Mark, just to be clear, you don't know if the NBA.
I have no idea what the NBA
have anything as far as they.
I went through the bylaws, and what I could tell, I didn't think you could do that. Right? You suspend and you can fine right? That's all I know, and I could be wrong, right? I'm not trying to be, I'm not going to try to lawyer it up and be a locker room lawyer literally and try to say what they can and can't do. And Adam and his staff have created that, and I'll support Adam in whatever he does.
Thanks, Mark.
And no one wants to talk basketball. God damn.